My name is Japheth Dibo. I am CEO co-founder Dial Afrika.
Ben Gavana. I am COO and co-founder at Dial Afrika.
Yeah, I'd say we're friends, but we've known each other for, I think, close to slightly over 5 years now. Yeah. I'd say we were both working in different, different startups back then. But then, for me, one of the things I've always been interested in is just trying to understand how best you can help businesses improve how to retain their customers. And firsthand, I learned that the hard way while working with I think one of the biggest betting firms back then called Bet. But in Kenya it was trading as Bet Major. Bet In, but here I think it trades as Bet Major. So I think I was thrown into that flow, just trying to also understand how customer support works, because that's where I started. But my passion really is in tech, because by profession I was a software engineer. Then I after a few months moved up to the IT manager. But then I was tasked with setting up customer support across all the different countries that we're in. So I saw how much it cost them. They spent about I think $700,000 to be able to implement that. Took them months actually to get that, and they had to bring in experts across all those different countries that they were in. A lot of physical setups going on. So it got me thinking, why can't we help businesses build this? Why can't we help this small, brilliant businesses and these smart founders who've come up with different ideas to be able to basically have softwares that can support them and help them grow their businesses. So that's how we started building Dial Afrika. So me and Ben met, and our goals were aligned, and picked it up from there. I'd say so, but it's much more than that. So just beyond solving problems for businesses, we're also trying to create impact by also creating jobs for different youths across Africa and eventually around the world. So I'd say, because Africa has about 1.3 billion consumers right now, and that population is projected to grow to about 2.5 billion by 2025. And what that means is basically the number of SMEs serving these consumers is also growing rapidly. But then these SMEs do not have tools to enable them grow their businesses, to enable them retain customers. So a lot of them end up basically closing shop when they shouldn't have. So what we're trying to do is, apart from giving them tools to enable them communicate with their customers, we bring in aspects of also data analysis through artificial intelligence and machine learning, basically, to allow them basically understand their consumer better, so that they can know, is this consumer happy with the services, is this consumer sad, is this consumer just neutral, and then what can they do better to improve these particular services. Sure. Do you want to tell them about
Bonga is more like, I'll give an example, right? If you go to East Africa and you say the word Bonga, basically it means communicate, right? Like the same way I'm communicating with you. Similar in terms of the South African region as well. So it's almost like a slang that is equivalent, that is relatively in most African countries, East and South. So basically that's what we call the product, right? It's like a communication. So in this particular case, Bonga is now the software we've built that enables businesses to be able to now communicate with their end consumers through multiple channels. The first channel being voice. So businesses are able to call in, or receive calls from their customers, multiple calls at the same time. You can have up to 10,000 calls coming in, and the software Bonga will be stable enough to still support that much kind of traffic. But then of course we live in a society, or we live in a generation where most businesses these days, the majority of the consumers they're serving are Gen Z, millennials, and just recently Gen Alpha as well, who basically want to reach you as a business through a channel that they feel that they are more intertwined to, a channel they feel more free interacting with. So most of them would want to reach you through WhatsApp, some of them would want to reach you through Instagram, some of them would want to reach you through other channels that they spend more time with, right? And the goal is to talk to your consumers too in a channel, or do not restrict your consumers on how they reach you. So what we've done is we also enabled Bonga to power communication through social media and social app channels as well, which in turn now just ensures that you as a business has or do have multiple ways that you can be able to communicate with your users back and forth without really restricting them on a specified channel as well, while getting the necessary the data you need to be able to fully understand them as well. Yes, so you have one single interface that integrates with phone calls, integrates also with social media and social chat apps like WhatsApp. So of course, social media, you're talking about things like Facebook, things like Instagram as well. Then of course, there's still other companies, a lot of companies that also have mobile apps, so a lot of companies that have a lot of interactions through their websites, right? So what Bonga allows you is to also integrate in such a way that if someone comes to your website, they're able to reach you through live chat functionalities. If someone comes to your mobile app as well, they're able to raise tickets and also interact with you directly from their mobile app. So in this case, yes. So far, it's been great so far because the need is big. One of the things that we always keep saying is the need is really big, right? As Dibo has mentioned, like with all these growing SMEs and all this growing population, a typical business would have so much interactions coming in, and ability to be able to manage these interactions determines if you as a business is able to grow, because at the end of the day you don't want to just focus on new acquisition, but you also as a business you want to focus on your bottom line, how you're protecting your bottom line, which equates to how satisfied are your customers to stay with you for a longer time, for you to keep on making revenues with them, right? And now with a software that is fully focused on not only just helping you maintain, but also helping you understand which customer has a higher probability of leaving you and how to improve, which customer you need to work on to improve their satisfaction rates. As a business, you're able to maintain your top line revenues as well, and you're able to keep on growing without necessarily having to worry about how many people you're losing, because the software helps you protect that particular bit as well.
Well, that's the beauty about what we've built. You don't need to really have technical expertise to understand, because you built it with very low code. So if you don't have technical expertise, it's very easy for you to understand. And then even for the data, the reason why we're bringing in artificial intelligence is basically to automate those processes, so you don't have to struggle as a business with segmented data. So if you're using like a different sales CRM, you're using like a different voice platform, or using like a different, for example, ticketing platform, then you have to struggle and aggregate that data and again now understand it better. So we simplify all that for you, so you don't have to struggle with that anymore.
So yeah, you said that the need is big, right? Or we built our products to understand the African space, right? So we call ourselves Dial Afrika because Africa first, and we built it to fully understand the SME sector in Africa. So it's one thing first is it speaks to and it's tailored to the African space. The second thing also now comes into the other value ops that we offer, right? Our software is very easily customizable. So what that means is it's not built for the financial space industry only, or built for insurance space industry only. It's built to cut across multiple industries. And the beauty about that is although it cuts across multiple industries, companies in different industries will have different operational matrices. So you have the freedom to also customize it further to fit your internal operations. This is something that most of our competitors do not offer, or offer on a paid on additional payments, which we don't charge extra for. The other thing as well is how we've been able to incorporate AI to help you grow. And how we do that, I'll give an example, right? We call our AI Nia. So what Nia does is for every interaction that comes in through text or through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through Instagram, through any other channel that you integrated with, Nia is able to pick out sentiments in real time over this particular customer, and it can be able to tell you, as is mentioned, which customer is happy with your service, which customer is frustrated, which customer is speaking negatively about a service you're offering, and it's able to help you prioritize a customer's issue, so that you're able to prioritize a customer that you have a higher probability of losing over a customer that you already have a higher probability of retaining. And what that means is now you as a business, you are able to also now segment which customers have a high churn probability, because Nia also now is able to do what you call predictive analysis on churn, and it's able to tell you customer A, you might lose, there's a 40% chance you might lose. Customer B, there's a 10% chance you might lose. So with that, it's able also to do what recommend specific actions. So recommended action for this customer, send them a retention-based campaign, send them an offer, right? This recommended campaign for this particular customer that you have lesser probability of losing, send them this different campaign, right? So you're able to help protect the customers you have, so that as you're growing as a business, you always keep focusing on new guys, while the product or services are helping you protect those that you already have. The last thing as well also that I want to mention that makes us very competitive is also on pricing. We're in a market that is very price sensitive as well, and what we've done is we've tailored the product pricing to actually fit the economics within the African space. Most of our competitors would have one centralized global pricing, but however, the economics in Europe are not the same as the economics in Africa. Charging both continents businesses the same amount doesn't necessarily make any kind of sense, right? Yeah.
And also, just to add on to that, I think the how we're structuring basically our build is to make implementation much faster, so that if you're a business and you want to get started on Bonga CX, it's very smooth. So the onboarding process is very smooth as fast as possible. So when you get to the website, it's just easy. It's plug and play. You get your account, you pick the number that you want, and then you can start using the platform. So we're trying to keep implementation at least under 24 hours. And we're in process to actually achieve that goal, so that businesses don't actually need a lot of interactions with us.
There is patient. It can, however, right now we've not enabled it for that functionality. The reason for that is as an AI service or as an AI engine, she's still growing, really. So we're still trying to feed her, of course, with enough data for her to get to that particular point. As of now, it can't do that, but we are trying to train the model in mostly focusing on how can it help businesses retain what they have, before, of course, we start transitioning her into how can she also propose new prospective clients as well.
Yeah, we're currently in the middle of a raise, actually. So we're raising $1 million. We're almost done with the raise, though. I think 70% done. Yeah. I'd say, or 85% almost. And I think we might get oversubscribed based on the guys that we're still talking to. So we're in the process of closing that off. But I think it's a very, very, it's I don't know how to put it, but truly,
it's like how we look at the pricing is mostly in terms of what our expenses are, right? Yeah. So most of our expenses are cloud services, right? So cloud services, because what we've done is initially in the past, there's a couple of companies that would come even with a cheaper pricing than ours, but will still push you to own your own cloud infrastructure. And what that means is, as much as they've come with a smaller pricing, you add up all these other things and the pricing shoots up. What we've done is, for most businesses, we are taking away the need for you to actually own your own cloud infrastructure, because you're fully servicing this for you. And what that means is now, for us to stay price competitive, what we've done on our side is we are mostly focusing on how much we are spending to actually help you run the services. And also the beauty of what we have is most of the things we have are inbuilt. So we are not paying other people, more people to be able to help serve this particular business. So we don't have integrators in place that are eating up our resources for us to be more expensive. So we built everything in-house. So it means we don't have to share revenue with a lot of other people on the side, which is one of the reasons why some products will be a little bit more expensive, because whatever revenues they are making, they also have to share it with other people. However, for us, when you're looking at what are we spending in terms of expenses to help now maintain your services.
Yeah, and also I think it's very, very key for us also, for most markets. How we look at it really is, so when we're getting into a new market, we do a lot of research before getting to that particular market. We try to get a lot of demand from that market, at least have 3 to 5 new customers, and have like a rich pipeline within that particular market. And based off that, we understand the different pricing dynamics while interacting with these customers, collect a lot of feedback. And then that also, coupled with what Benard said, drives how we're able to structure our price points really. So, and then we also look at, when you're getting into a new market, we come in with like free trials and freemiums, and that cuts across basically right now every market. So you can get to use the software for about 14 days for free. We're looking at basically working with different startups and also women run startups basically that are founded by women, such that they can then leverage on the software and basically they can use it for more than 14 days, even as they're starting up to build up their business. So those are just some of the ways we're looking to also support small businesses that are actually starting out, and they probably might not be able to have enough revenue to afford to buy the software. Right now it's 9. Yeah, but not fully operational with offices. We have customers in this country. The countries that we're fully operational with an office is just Kenya and Nigeria for now.
And Ethiopia.
And Ethiopia, yeah. So those are the countries that we have full operations going. For your mouth to volunteers.
Actively paying around 52, those also others in free trials, and the rest about 150.
Well, we have so many great things in the pipeline, but right now our core focus really is for Africa, because we've built this for African businesses. We built this for the underdogs really, for all these brilliant founders who have great products and great services, but they do not have access to these tools to help them grow their businesses. So those are our key focus areas. So we're focusing mainly on East Africa and then also West Africa. So Nigeria is going to be our HQ for West Africa to also help us push within this particular market, because there's a lot of businesses that would leverage on what we're building. And also on top of that, it's somewhere where we can learn and keep building better, because one of the things we value is we take a lot of feedback from our customers, from the people we interact with. So we're able to keep growing and keep building the business. But then also eventually we're looking to tap into the Southern African market. We're reading conversations with a couple of other industry players who we can partner with for this particular markets. So we're looking at South Africa as a whole, of course, into the future. But then for now, our core focus would just be Eastern and Western Africa. But that does not mean if we got a client from Mozambique or Egypt, we wouldn't serve them, basically. Yeah.
Cool. I think we're really fast. We go to the office sometimes and we see new faces every day. But we currently are at about 53 people. So it's growing really fast. So 53 people cut across the countries that we're in. Yeah. One of the biggest challenges, especially for tech like ours, is trying to educate the market on why that tech is important for their business. The beauty about what we have is it cuts across all industries, and customer support is important for you regardless of what you're doing. So it's regardless of what you're doing, you need to be able to support your customers. You need to be able to help them stay happy. So it's a matter of now, how do we educate these businesses to understand that they can actually maintain their customers better with better satisfaction rates, right? It's a matter of how do we train these businesses to understand that there are processes that they can put in place to make sure that they are as competitive as the foreign companies that are coming to shop in Africa as well, or stay as competitive as the bigger companies as well. Because one of the biggest reasons usually is, or you'll find across the continent, is SMEs or smaller or newer companies coming up, but still the older companies that have been there for a couple of decades will still stay dominant, regardless of whether their services are better or not. And it's mostly because they have operational matrices in place that the smaller people or the smaller companies do not yet have or do not even know that they need, right? So one of the things that we are fully focusing on is how do we educate the SMEs that for these other companies that are boarding them in the market, these are the things that put in place to make sure that the operational processes are seamless, that you can also put in place, and it can give you the same kind of leverage to compete with the bigger company that you're trying to compete with. So that's the first thing that we're trying to push a lot. So education on this on the services that we have, how they can help make them competitive, make their businesses competitive enough to fight off or to try and get some sort of market share as well with a fight to the bigger players as well. So equipping them with the necessary tools they need to be able to survive this particular the markets as well. The other thing that we face as a challenge, always I think for every founder actually is on team, right? As you grow, as the team grows, it's always a matter of, for the company to keep on growing, you always have to get the right talent in place. So yeah, we try to overcome. Most of the talent we hire is usually mostly in sales kind of talent and engineering talent, because most of the products we have are inbuilt. So we keep on growing the engineering team as well. So one of the biggest challenges that we always face usually is getting quality enough engineers. Of course, there's a lot of quality enough engineers on the continent, but for some of the products that we have, engineering doesn't span, or the knowledge is not as big as we would like. So what we do to try and mitigate that, or try to handle that, is we have ongoing, every 3 months we bring in new interns that we try to train and bring or adopt some of them in-house as well. So you pick up new interns every 3 months, try and take them in, so that the knowledge of what you're trying to do, or or basically the kind of skills we want is enough really, because the more people we train, the more people we're able to tap into as well. I'd put the last one as how do I put it? It's one of the biggest challenges as well. I'd put it as
in like raising capital, or
raising capital is always a challenge. Because no founder has to raise capital. It's one to focus on the business, really. Yeah.
Well, That's an interesting question, but because how we look at it really is, if you're a business and you interact with your customers every day, it's very, very important for you to understand your customer behavior and for you to be able to actually retain these customers and acquire more customers in future, and even try and understand the patterns of how your competitors are doing in the particular market. Now, what we can allow you to do through our software basically is the ability to, one, interact with your customers effectively and smoothly through multiple channels, not just one channel. And then two, you will have the power in your hands to decide basically how my sales team is basically being guided. So if you're a business that has multiple sales guys on the ground, what we build allows you to basically have your team on the go, but from an iBirds view. So if, for example, you have your own company running here in Lagos and you have all these different branches, maybe you can have a branch in Nairobi, maybe you have another branch in Abuja, you have another branch in South Africa, for example, Joburg. So you can have an iBirds overview and track how all these branches are performing. And one of the things that we've realized that 70% of businesses across Africa are still stuck with the older ways of communicating, where they use a mobile phone. But then, if, for example, I called you as a business and you're using a mobile phone, what are the chances, for example, the person serving this particular customer over the mobile phone would probably not serve the customer correctly? Maybe they'd have an altercation and you'd never know, because you can't track that. You'd never know if the customer was properly served, and you can't track that. You never know if the customer is happy, sad, or would never want any of the services, and you can't track that. And I think, as Ben mentioned, and even as I mentioned earlier, the population right now is increasing, and we have a lot more millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha. And if you look around with the craze of TikTok and social media going on, most of these guys, they'd rather go to Instagram, maybe to a huge food joint and order something real quick over Instagram. But then every time you go to order something, they'd be like, who are you? Because they can't keep track of who they're speaking to all the time, and they can't centralize all that data into one place. So what we're doing for you basically is allowing you to have centralized data and allow you to basically tap into this data to make more informed decisions, so that as a business you only concentrate on what you do best. So if you're a restaurant, you run your restaurant. If you're a bank, you concentrate on banking, and then you let us do the hard work for you through Bonga sales, basically.
I want to chip in as well. I keep saying Bonga. If you look at the T-shirt, maybe it says Bonga CX, and then says below customer support made easy, right? So Bonga is customer support made easy, right? So we make customer support easy for you, and we help you as a business to be able to protect your top line revenue, and that has a direct effect on now you having to increase your sales. So if you care about protecting your top line revenue, you care about having more sales, you care about how do you also protect how do you protect your overhead costs as well as a business. So basically you care about your operational costs as well. As a business, you also care about how do you retain customers by having better satisfaction rates on these customers as well. And as a business, you care about actually understanding your customer data. Then you need the software.
Absolutely. Nigeria, Benga is here. Dial Afrika is here for you. Welcome to the future of customer support. Join us and let's transform how you interact with your customers. Yep.